The Republican candidates for president showed some overt, blatant bigotry while I was on vacation last week. So here we have an example from Ben Carson and Donald Trump. Let's take a look.
So do you believe that Islam is consistent with the Constitution?
No, I don't. I do not. I would not advocate that we put a Muslim in charge of this nation. I absolutely would not agree with that.
And would you ever consider voting for a Muslim for Congress?
Congress is a different story, but it depends on who that Muslim is and what their policies are.
We have a problem in this country. It's called Muslims. We know our current president is one. Right. You know he's not even an American.
We need this
birth
question.
certificate, man. But anyway, we have training camps growing where they want to kill us. Mm-hmm. That's my question. When can we get rid of them?
We're going to be looking at a lot of different things. And, you know, a lot of people are saying that, and a lot of people are saying that bad things are happening out there. We're going to be looking at that and plenty of other things.
How sad is that? Even John McCain, when he got to the general election and he was running against Obama, kind of fought back against blatant, in-your-face bigotry from his own base. I don't know if you guys remember that exchange, but there was some woman at one of his events who said President Obama is a Muslim and an Arab, and he was like, no, that's not true. You know, let's calm down a little bit. Donald Trump's like, you know, it's good. A lot of people looking into that. You know, we're looking at many things. That's your response? I mean, in all seriousness, if you look at the way that crazy guy framed what he said, a kind interpretation of what he's saying is round up all the Muslims, even Muslim Americans, and ship them out. That's the kindest interpretation I give, which is already just fucking lunacy. But a harsher interpretation is, would this guy really be against it if there were, you know, we, for example, put them in internment camps? Would he be against it if there were, you know, advocating out-and-out violence? Sounds like he's on the verge of advocating out-and-out violence. That's close to just flat-out a call for starting to kill people. He said, we have a problem called Muslims. This is from a die-hard atheist who's always arguing for that position. That goes way too far. If you were to say we have a problem with Muslim fundamentalism, we have a problem with radical Islam, not only do I agree 100%, I'm the one that's leading the charge and arguing against that. But when you say we have a problem called Muslims, how do we get rid of them? When can we get rid of them? Whoa, what do you mean? Just round them all up and ship them all out? Because that's fucking crazy. Or do something worse? Because that's even fucking crazier. And Donald Trump's like, oh, I'm listening, as if this is a serious person he's listening to. Donald, you're talking to a fucking maniac. Point it out, man. But he can't. He just can't. He's a bigot himself. He's in a room surrounded by a bunch of bigots. So he's got to play along to one degree or another. I mean, that's lunacy. It's hard to even watch that. And not that I even need to do this where I debunk the claim of the crazy Republican-based voter who just said that to Trump. What do you mean we have training camps? No, we don't. See, this is the problem with propaganda. I mean, Glenn Beck ran with this. Judicial Watch, which is a crazy right-wing fringe group, ran with this. They had articles, WorldNet Daily, where they said, you know, ISIS is coming in through the southern border. We found a prayer rug on the border. Turns out, what was it? A soccer jersey. They said, Beck said not that long ago that there's an ISIS training camp just over the border with Mexico. He made that claim. So when you have crazy people saying crazy shit, then you get guys like this who will take the already crazy statement and go further into Crazyville. I mean, we're dealing with really, really ignorant and really, really unintelligent people here when they say stuff like this. And let's be totally clear, this is anti-Muslim bigotry. Now, I dislike the term Islamophobia because it's fine to disagree or hate Islam in the same way it's fine to disagree or hate Christianity or the Bible, because those are doctrines, those are ideas. I would contend you should dislike any set of dogmatic ideas. So I don't like the term Islamophobia, but this is clear anti-Muslim bigotry. It's Muslimophobia, if you will. And then to Ben Carson, here's a guy, ironically, who's somehow a neurosurgeon. Again, the dumbest smart guy there ever was in human history is Ben Carson. He doesn't believe in evolution. How are you a doctor, a neurosurgeon, and you don't believe in evolution? He doesn't believe in evolution. He believes in a biblical tax system. He bases his tax plan on tithing in the Bible. And he says there should be no rules for war. International law doesn't apply to the U.S. We should be able to do whatever the fuck we want. And that guy, who's an extremist in his own right, and in many ways is a Christian radical, he's saying the Muslims are the problem to the point where a Muslim can't even be president. It's always funny when you hear guys like Rick Santorum or Mike Huckabee or Ben Carson say stuff like this, because they're totally blind to the extremism in their own camp. Because in his mind, let's face it, Christian by definition is good, Muslim by definition is bad. So to him, the concept of any kind of moderate Muslim, he's like, that doesn't exist, that's not a thing, and I don't think a Muslim president is okay under the Constitution, which is lunacy because the Constitution says the opposite. The Constitution says we have freedom of religion. The Constitution says we have no religious test for office. So theoretically, whether you're a Christian or a Muslim or a Hindu or a Buddhist or an atheist or an agnostic, of course you can, if you get elected, you can be president. But he's like, no, I disagree with that. And I love how he thinks it's more like he's being liberal when he's like, well, you know, for the Senate, that's a different story. If we're talking about Congress, well, maybe I'd accept some Muslim there, but a Muslim as president, don't be crazy. No, this is anti-Muslim bigotry. Oftentimes, you know, there are many public atheists who are accused of anti-Muslim bigotry, and I don't think that they're really in that camp. But to the idea that anti-Muslim bigotry doesn't exist, well, that's just demonstrably untrue, and you see a hell of a lot of it coming from the far right, and here's two examples of it right here.